Greetings, friends. Welcome to what shall prove the most practical 12 minutes of philosophy you may ever witness on YouTube or elsewhere. I'm Alexander Dunn, and in the span of just one breathless video, I aim to distill for you the very best psychological strategies employed by history's wisest and most resilient thinkers, the Stoic philosophers. Ruled by reason and utterly unperturbed by misfortune, these sages of antiquity, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, fascinate me to no end as they calmly outsmarted every obstacle life flung their way. We still quote their penetrating wisdom today. Well, buckle up and get ready for what I consider the 10 key mental disciplines that compose the backbone of Stoic mastery over runaway emotions. Yes, in mere minutes I shall decode for you the principles guiding some of history's greatest strategic minds. We'll cover everything from selectively ignoring what lies outside your control, thinking through worst-case scenarios to inoculate yourself against distress, planning each day carefully so you steer circumstances instead of being steered by them. Even how playing mind games with desire can lead to incredible focus and willpower. The promise of our rapid-fire exploration awaits, my friends. Imagine how you'll outsmart those beset by anxiety and distraction once you master these 10 Stoic keys. So watch this video right now, and let's begin upgrading our minds at the strategic level. Lesson 1. Master yourself before mastering others. Welcome, my friend. I'm excited to share this first principle of living strategically. The foundation of the victorious life rests upon self-mastery, controlling our judgments, knee-jerk reactions, and base impulses. Without inward discipline, any external maneuvers turn brittle. The Stoics prized an orderly mind above all else. The mind in itself can make a hell out of heaven or a heaven out of hell, penned early Stoic Boethius when facing execution. How shall we gather the wisdom or restraint to outplay others when we cannot even command ourselves? We must enlist rigorous practices to thrive in adversity. Let us develop higher awareness around destructive habits. Do you indulge distraction? Perhaps you react instead of respond. Unchecked emotions often signal areas for personal growth. I encourage plain living and high thinking. Schedule time for study, exercise, and quality social connection. Master self-care fundamentals before seeking to master complex strategies. By looking inward first, we find the peace and restraint needed to make us unflappable at every turn. External events cannot disturb your still inner pond if the depths remain tranquil and clear. Lesson 2. Subdue your passions. Now that we focus inwardly, let's discuss taming extreme emotions and knee-jerk reactions. The sage understands even subtle psychological manipulation preys upon volatile temperaments. By cooling our passions, none can seize advantage through clever provocation. When insulted, take a pause before responding. Breathe deep and evaluate the attack's validity. Does it reveal any accurate self-criticism to fuel our growth? Disarm and learn. Perhaps the insult merely exposes the attacker's shortcomings. By staying dispassionate, their words lose all force. We must avoid reactionary decisions ruled by emotional recoil. I recall Marcus Aurelius writing, "To refrain from imitation is the best revenge." How do we subdue volatile emotions? By allowing space for mindful responding, not reacting. Slow down reactions to carefully evaluate next best steps. Rest assured, fiery passions always burn themselves out over time. Do not feed their flames in the short term. Rather than lashing back, pause and plan decisive action from a place of rational control. Make passion your tool, not your toolmaster. Lesson 3. Mind the dichotomy of control. Our next key concerns selective attention, focusing solely on what lies within our power by rigorously filtering out wasted thoughts on external matters beyond our control. This dichotomy of control, as Stoic philosophers called it, divides our world neatly into what falls outside our control, others' beliefs, natural events, luck or physics. Fretting over these proves meaningless. Rather, we must pour all energy into that which we can shape, our reasoned judgments, moral character, studied insights and present actions. Ignore the chatter of that first category entirely. Train yourself to pivot focus like a mammal evolving echolocation. Filter out the dizzying noise and lock your perception only on what signals you can meaningfully interpret and navigate by. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." As we close part 1, try maintaining a dichotomy of control journal. When frustrated, stop and record what triggered you, then deliberately shift attention back to self-development goals within your sovereign domain. What worthy pursuits call for your energies today? Lesson 4. Employ strategic apathy. Having established inner control and emotional regulation, we come to a controversial yet potent principle, harnessing the power of apathy. Let me explain. Other minds seek constantly to manipulate. Advertisers bait us to break our budget. Social media provokes outrage to hijack attention. By contrast, the Stoic sage wears the armor of apathy. She cares less about those unimportant trifles beyond her control or purpose. External lures and drama seldom penetrate her mental bubble. This strategic apathy directly diminishes the control others exert through manufactured urgency or controversy. Stay indifferent to petty conflicts. Resist knee-jerk outrage at headlines. Conserve your mental energies for worthwhile endeavors alone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By narrowing our perspective, we focus on self-mastery rather than pointless distraction. Lesson 5. Plan for the worst. Let's continue building our resilience with perhaps the strangest Stoic practice, vividly planning for catastrophic failure scenarios. This principle seems counterintuitive, yet offers profound psychological insulation against paralyzing despair. The sage maintains cheerfulness even staring down potential disaster by facing the prospect of total defeat preemptively in our mind's eye. We diminish its actual emotional impact should the worst outcomes strike. Imagine losing your career, savings or reputation. Picture broken bones or bankrupt bank statements. Vividly act out responses in your mind. The vividly imagined loses its power to shock and terrify. We inoculate ourselves by thought experiments. Of course, we continue prudent precautions, insurance policies, emergency funds, and wellness habits. However, forced loss of anything non-essential should not derail our Stoic equanimity. We retain control over judgments, perspective, and graceful acceptance no matter what. Try journaling potential reversals, script out bankruptcy accidents, even imprisonment. By facing the darkness, you'd better stay in the light. Fear flees in the face of preparation. Outsmart worry today. Lesson 6. Upgrade your software. Halfway through our journey, let's discuss analytical precision as a Stoic tool for outwitting emotion-fueled minds. Passionate tempers quickly derail sound logic and judgment. The Stoic sage resists this vulnerability through constant analysis and improvement of her reasoning skills, continually upgrading her mental software. Regularly tracing back emotional reactions to underlying beliefs and assumptions often reveals irrational trains of thought. Question each conclusion and study diverse perspectives surrounding issues. Does this data actually imply that conclusion? Am I assuming causation when mere correlation exists? Uncover and eliminate flaws in thinking. Additionally, borrow tools from fields like contract law to tighten arguments. Split compound premises to test validity. Watch for equivocation and vagueness. Hold your logic to starving standards. Any crack renders it useless. Fortify rationality daily. With razor-sharp reasoning and a high burden of proof, you'll slice through emotional debates like a knight's sword of wisdom. Wield the weapons of rationality and rhetoric. Soon enough, none shall stand equal upon the battlefield of ideas. We shall prevail. Lesson 7. See through manipulation. Let's shine illumination's lamp on the dark art of manipulation and how Stoic perception cuts through such psychological tactics. When arguments falter, manipulators often pressure our emotions. Guilt, obligation, fear, and peer pressure all attempt overriding rational faculties for agreement. Wise perception required. Slow down and evaluate motives behind every appeal, especially emotional ones. Ask why might someone use such tactics? Do they encourage haste or obstruction of outside perspectives? Manipulators also anchor negotiations with extreme demands, then settle on merely unreasonable terms. Counter by taking time for independent scrutiny. Lean on your dichotomy of control filter. Kindly yet firmly establish boundaries around what control you cede to others. Educate gently where naivety and not malice underlies manipulation. With grace and insight, much manipulation unravels. Pay particular attention when appeals bypass logic or downplay restrictions upon your principles and agency. Filter out such transparent ploys swiftly and surely. Lesson 8. Plan for resilience. Let us shore up our future resilience through purposeful design of the present moment. The Stoics mitigate disruption by carving order from chaos, planning actions by importance rather than urgency. Every evening, schedule essential priorities for the coming day. Diminish reaction by dedicating focused time to loved ones, passions, and personal growth. Grant no quarter to idle busyness. Divide time into categories like learning, exercising, or connecting with others. Within each, block off periods for reading, writing, and thinking, rather than skimming emails or scrolling feeds. By wisely designing days, disruptions find fewer gaps to impede development. We pilot time's passage smoothly as riders, rather than victims of circumstance. Even disasters must smash entire structures built stone upon stone through long practice at living intentionally. Plan for resilience starting now. Lesson 9. Carefully select your company. As we approach our destination, a critical milestone appears, carefully curating your community. After all, success requires judicious allies, while fools and narcissists sabotage despite best-laid plans. Analyze whether relationships uplift or diminish your Stoic practice. Do associates inspire virtue and self-mastery, or do they seize control and emotional leverage? Look also at subtle cues like who initiates contact and sets conversation agendas. The users quickly reveal themselves. Rewrite relationships rules clearly and directly. With allies, regular vulnerability builds bonds and prevents manipulation's smoke seeping through cracks. Forgive past baggage, but require accountability moving forward. Again, however, react to relational red flags not with outrage, but by gradually disentangling contact. Appeal to reason while establishing healthy boundaries, or else withdrawing attention. Do so politely but decisively to prevent prolonged harm or dramatic rupture. Choose company carefully, and your crew shall make you mighty. Surround yourself by sage companions and teachers. Philosophy's gifts shine brighter still when polished together through dialogue. Lesson 10. Weaponize your willpower. Last but not the least, the final Stoic key to outsmarting all challenges rises before us: an indomitable will, harder than forged steel. Stoic training builds decision-making muscles able to resist the greatest persuasion and enticement. By mastering desire, we conquer weakness for luxury and pleasure that sabotages self-mastery. Train yourself by foregoing small comforts. Cold showers, early rising, and solo hiking edify willpower. Fear nothing external by facing each inner excess. The sage acts not out of obligation to custom, but virtue examined independently through calm reflection. Make it a daily routine to re-examine beliefs and shift gradually to uphold justice over mere law or preferential treatment. Mold your character as a sculptor does clay, little by little washing away imperfections over years. Curate a personality organically shaped by reason and experience, not one stamped out hastily by society's molds. Through unrelenting self-discipline and loyalty to wisdom alone, the Stoic commands staggering mental powers, able to outthink and outlast all enemies. We conclude our journey here, my friends, at the peak of self-sovereignty. May you wield such indomitable willpower justly and serenely until our paths cross again. My friends, there you have it. The 10 master strategies for crafting an indestructible mindset, capable of outracing every storm, as employed by the greatest Stoic sages of ancient days. From the private journals of Marcus Aurelius to the daring defiance of Seneca against emperors and exile alike, we have unlocked the attitude of mental invincibility. I sincerely hope you found this analysis insightful for your own quests in outsmarting all obstacles life dares fling your direction. Though our time has flown swiftly, I am condensing immense wisdom into bite-sized takeaways for immediate implementation across work, relationships, and within. Maybe you faced a painful insult recently and can now view it through the lens of emotional apathy rather than retaliation. Or perhaps you feel overwhelmed by endless notifications and can regain agency via ruthless time blocking of your personal priorities for tomorrow. Even just asking what lies outside my control here in stressful predicaments may prove profoundly liberating. I encourage you to start a habit of re-watching these highlights every month or two as refreshers along the path of self-mastery, which ultimately proves a lifelong journey. Feel free to exchange favorite Stoic quotes or mental exercises in the comments. I always appreciate dialogue and different viewpoints to progress my own education as well. Until next time, my friends, take care, and remember, true freedom waits within for those daring enough to claim their psychological birthright. The keys now belong to us. Onward and upward.